Dew has barely settled on the fuzzy green stem of the heirloom tomato before the invasion begins. Hundreds of pale green aphids press into the tender flesh below the growing tip, where the tissue is still soft enough to pierce. Each one drives a hair-thin stylet between the cells, feeling for the vascular channel beneath, and locks on. The plant's trichomes, the sticky glandular hairs that snag smaller insects, are simply outnumbered. Sap that was meant for the swelling fruit is drawn upward into 100 small bodies instead. The stem grows crowded. New leaves open, already curled, and the first flower cluster hangs unopened in the morning light. It has tried everything. The plant floods the crowded tissue with bitter alkaloids, the same chemistry that makes its leaves toxic to larger animals. But the aphids feed inside the phloem, where those compounds are thinnest. They gorge, and what they cannot use they void as honeydew, a clear sugar syrup that falls onto the leaves below. The syrup spreads. Within days, a black sooty mold colonizes it, sealing the leaf surface under a crust that light cannot pass through. Beneath that crust, the leaf is still alive and still trying to photosynthesize, and failing. The oldest foliage yellows from the margins inward. Buds that should be setting fruit drop instead, still green, onto the soil. But the invaders refuse to leave. Finally, something answers. Every punctured cell has been leaking a plume of volatile compounds into the air. Released the moment a stylet breaks through, and the mixture is specific enough to name the animal causing it. It drifts across the row on the warm morning air. A parasitic wasp, Aphidius colemani, smaller than a grain of rice and metallic in the light, turns into the scent and follows it upwind. She has no interest in the tomato. She has been searching for aphids since the hour she emerged, and she has perhaps 10 days to find them all. She lands at the edge of the colony and walks in among them. The aphids are 20 times her size, and they do not move aside. She taps one with her antennae, reading its surface, and rejects it. She taps another. When she finds one she wants, she curls her abdomen forward beneath her body and strikes, and the whole action takes less than a second. The ovipositor goes in through the soft flank, and a single egg goes with it. The aphid kicks once and resumes feeding. It will keep feeding for 6 more days. Inside it, the egg hatches into a larva that begins with the fluid in the body cavity, taking nothing vital, keeping its host alive and eating. Only at the end does it turn to the organs. The aphid stops moving. Its legs stiffen, and its body swells and hardens, the green draining out of it until the whole husk is a dry, papery tan. The larva has spun a silk lining inside the shell of the animal it ate and glued that shell to the leaf. On the row, hundreds of these mummies begin to appear. The drain stops. With the colony hollowed out, sap that was going into aphids goes into fruit again. Rain comes in the night and takes the honeydew and most of the sooty crust with it, and the leaves underneath are green again by the second morning. The curled foliage opens and flattens toward the light. The flower cluster that had stalled sets 4 fruit, and over the following weeks they swell and color. The shoulders going from hard green to orange to a deep crimson that gives slightly under pressure. On the same leaves, the tan mummies stay glued where they died, each with a neat round hole cut in its back. For the tomato, the wasp is not a rescuer. It is an animal that found its own food and happened to remove the thing that was killing a plant. For the wasp, the aphid colony was never a pest. It was a nursery, and the tomato's chemical distress was only the map that led her to it. For the soil, the emptied husks and the fallen leaves are a slow return of nitrogen to the ground the plant is standing in. The war on this stem was decided by a signal no one can smell, and an insect no one can see, and it will be fought again on the next plant, and the next.